I could just get rid of everybody, my marketing, my sales, my engineers, my designers, and just have all these AI agents. That's complete bullshit.
Makoto Kern, founder of Impact and Inc. 5000, shares how to scale product strategy, build strong teams, and close the AI competence gap in today's digital economy.
You know, you need more people. It helps become a force multiplier, but just, I mean, I'm using it every day. I use 6 different AIs tools, and I see issues that still happen. I'm using Gemini. I've been having conversations. It's starting to make more and more mistakes the more I have that conversation get bloated. And so these are just things that I have to check as a professional before I just like willy-nilly decide to replace everybody with AI.
What's up, everybody? This is Ryan Van Orn back with another edition of the Scaling Up Success podcast brought to you by Synergist. Synergist is your scalable operations company that helps you grow exponentially faster at a fraction of the cost. Go check out synergist.com. Also, while you're at it, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to all the videos that we got. But today, I am super excited. We have Makoto Kern on of Impact. Man, how are you doing today, sir?
Great. Thanks for having me on today's show.
Absolutely.
Excited to be here.
Super excited to have this conversation. You know, are you ready just to jump into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome, man. Well, tell us a little bit about Impact, man. You've been doing this thing for a little bit, haven't you?
Just for a little while, about 20 plus years. Yeah, I basically started Impact in Chicago. I was born and raised there, but moved to Austin, Texas, and currently in Las Vegas. But, you know, we've been basically running a product strategy and design agency. And, you know, we've evolved from being just purely design, UX design, making designs better for websites, applications, to really more of that product strategy piece where we help executives really understand, kind of like get them aligned, trying to figure out where the biggest risks are, and then really setting up scalable processes. So when they're trying to build new enterprise applications or consumer-based applications, we really try to get them to launch faster by actually taking, you know, a strategic approach versus like, hey, just give me some pretty looking wireframes and let's just get going type of thing.
Right.
So
right.
Yeah, been doing this for a while, and yeah, we've been on the Inc. 5000 3 years in a row. You know, I have a team of about 20-25 people, and yeah, we also have a podcast as well, and so yeah, really enjoy doing this, and yeah, hopefully I've been in many different industries, and hopefully continue to do this far into the future.
That's super cool, man. So like like you said, you've been doing this for 2 decades now, but like what were some of the biggest challenges of scaling your business to the levels that you're at now?
I think there's a few things when it comes to scaling. So, you know, when you're growing, you know, because I've been around since the dot-com boom and bust. When you grow too fast, you know, that's always a thing. You know, when you're growing way too fast and you're not, especially a service-based business, you have to really be careful about kind of who you hire. Everybody on your team is such an important, integral part of the business. And I've always told myself, I always try to lead from behind versus from the front. And I always try to empower my teams. And I've always placed my employees as number one and the clients number two. And that usually translates, of course, we take care of the client. But as I've been doing this for a while, it's, you know, again, with a service-based business, it's really, there's a lot of egos and a lot of the things that I have to challenge, especially when I'm trying to make change from the top down versus the bottom up. And it's something where as you're growing it into a bigger and bigger agency, I think at our peak we had about 50 people on our team. It becomes very important on how you manage that team, how you manage the client, and you have processes in place, you have quality checks, you over communicate. I mean, essentially the things that we see in all different types of organizations that we help, the problems that we see within organizations. They don't communicate, they're not aligned, there's lots of risk. And so taking our learnings, but from launching hundreds of digital products to trying to tell and consult companies on how to do it right. I mean, we have to do it right internally. So I think it's really, that's kind of how I've learned to really scale. And you gotta also, you can't get complacent with like marketing. You can't get complacent with networking. That all still takes into effect. And now with AI, the game is changing and it's changing very quickly. So that's a whole nother topic that we have to navigate now.
Absolutely. And it's moving so fast.
Hmm.
You know, I guess I can relate it to like maybe like 5 years ago, AI was maybe like a third grader, and now it's like, a teenager,
Hmm.
and it's crazy how fast it's going to be, that adult level type of game changer, it's coming fast.
For sure. I think with AI, I mean, there's this kind of double-edged sword, and there's also, a dot-com boom and bust type of similarities that I'm seeing as well. There's a lot of overvaluation. You have AI in your product. Oh, you're gonna make millions, just like you had a dot-com in your name. Oh, your valuation blows up. It's it's some of that, but then there's so much of the noise that's generated, AI slop that's created, and so you have to kind of, there's a pendulum that is swinging, and I think
Hmm.
we have actual AI teams within our organization that is integrating AI into our clients' products and into their services, and so we're into the thick of it from the tech side of things, but just from a kind of like expectation. I think a lot of executives think they know AI. There's a term that I've coined called the AI competence gap, where you, yeah, it's something where if you use AI and you're like, I'm a designer, I have a developed code, I think it's something magical. Oh, I don't need a developer anymore. I could just use AI for this. And it's because my competence in coding in that aspect my gap is very big. But if a developer looks at the code, it's like, yeah, it's all right. You still have to use people. We still have to check it. There's still mistakes that it makes. And then when you get to the executive stage, they're good at business, but then when it comes to like, oh, I could just get rid of everybody, my marketing, my sales, my engineers, my designers, and just have all these AI agents, that's complete bullshit. You
Yep.
need more people. It helps become a force multiplier, but just, I mean, I'm using it every day. I use six different AIs tools, and I see issues that still happen. I mean, I'm using Gemini, and I've been having conversations, and it's starting to make more and more mistakes the more I have that conversation get bloated. And so these are just things that I have to check as a professional before I just like willy-nilly decide to replace everybody with AI. So that's kind of what I'm
Yeah,
seeing.
the hallucinations are real in some of
Mhm.
those instances. Would you agree?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I mean, again, like I'm using different tools for different things and they all have their strengths and their weaknesses, but in most cases, I mean, I'll have Claude make just simple mistakes of calculations. Its image recognition isn't as good as I would say Gemini, but then
Hmm.
It starts off good, but then I'm using Pro, it starts to make date issues like, hey, analyze these things on this date, and it's taking the wrong date. I mean, this just happened the other day.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, just it's miscalculating things. It's throwing in, I do sometimes I use it for betting, and it creates these teams that are not playing against each other, and I'm like, what's going on here? So it's 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 prone to error, and if you're not, and this is just simple things. If you're doing something very technical and you're not keeping up, on top of it, that mistake is now propagated throughout your entire organization.
I would agree 100% on that, man. And thank you for that insight. One thing that you talked about earlier is about like how you set like the precedence for your culture in your team. Like, do you feel like that is like one of the standard bearers that Impact stands by is like you have your team is that go-to culture, like that people want to be there?
Yeah, for sure. I think, most of my team has been around since for 10, 20 years on my team, the people that I have right now. And I think that's a testament of kind of the way I try not to micromanage. I just don't have the
Hmm.
time for it. But I try to manage to a point where if a client I want the client to think they're the only client that I have. I want them to know that they're always the most important thing, and I want them all to feel that way, even though I have multiple clients. And so I love getting involved with design ideas, with strategy pieces. I love to be in there. And so that just naturally kind of keeps me on top of things. But I think from a environment perspective, just the communication, allowing people to kind of, blossom into, basically this is your own client is like this is your own project. Manage it that way and you'll be in charge of that stuff. And so, you know, consulting wise, I have to have really smart people. I have to have really good people who are not just good at what they do, but have the right attitude. And for me, I think that's the biggest thing that I've noticed is that I will take a C player with an A attitude versus an A player with a C attitude because
Oh,
they will
absolutely. Yeah.
kill your company if you don't watch it.
I
Yep.
agree so firmly with that one, man. I totally agree on that one. So, do
Yeah.
you feel like the landscape has changed in the last 20 years in the workforce? And like that there's a different element to that, like what the workforce is asking for?
I think, globalization obviously is such a big thing. H-1B visas, that's obviously been a topic recently, just from a macro scale in the United States. And I think, I'm going to have a very biased view because I'm always correcting and cleaning up really shitty code, really shitty designs, but then I'm also constantly battling like how much do you guys cost versus how much does this offshore team cost? And we have offshore people, we have onshore people, we have everything. But the fact of the matter is, if somebody's good at what they do, they will value themselves at that price. Yeah, maybe there's some discounts here and there, but for the most part, people will value themselves to the level at the demand is. So if you are a CFO and you're just analyzing this $10 an hour developer versus this $100 an hour developer, and you're getting far more output, you have to understand that this guy who's very cheap is only looking at a very small portion of that thing. They're not looking holistically. They're not looking down the line. They're creating more work for everybody else down the line, but that's never calculated into the service that's provided or the outcomes that's generated. And so, with with the amount of talent that is out there, there's also a lot of waste and garbage and people who don't know what they're doing. They're out there, but on the surface level, oh, this guy can do the same thing as this guy, and they're so much cheaper. And so when you don't know what you're doing, you know, you're going to have problems. And managing teams that are not right in front of you and you don't know, like, I don't know exactly how to do all back end code. I don't know how to do all front end code. I know a little bit about it because I was an engineer, but again, it's not something that I can sit there and just micromanage. But a designer, I can sit there and say, oh, this took you like 5 minutes. It didn't take you 5 days. So why are you billing me this much? Why are you billing the client this much? I could question these things and I can push. And so if you're just some business owner who's trying to run a bunch of resources, thinking you can just outsource everything and run it correctly, you're not going to scale. You may scale quickly, but you're going to fall as fast as you scaled up. So I always say hire slow, fire fast. That's always an important thing as well.
I love it, man. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing all that insight.
Yeah.
One of the other things that we do is like to get a little personal through a rapid fire type of questioning. Are you open to that?
Let's do it.
Awesome, man. So like what books are you reading right now to stay up on stuff?
Books. So it's funny. I listen to probably like 100 audiobooks a year, but
Hmm.
I use the books from that side of things. It's mostly like sci-fi things that kind of like
Yeah.
expand my creativeness. I mean, it could be
Yeah.
it could be anything. And so I love listening to kind of those kind of books. The business books, I really more like watching more of the podcasts, reading Medium articles and things like that for kind of that short burst of things. I mean, just looking on X and reading like articles and things on there. I mean, that's kind of where I get a lot of my information from
Very
nowadays because
cool.
I feel like it's more up to date quicker.
Yeah. Do you have a bucket list travel spot you want to go to?
So a little, yeah. So that's interesting because about 6, 7 years ago, I actually traveled around the world with my family, hit 13 different countries, 3 kids, 3 suitcases, and that's it. And we hit all these different countries. And so we were able to hit a lot of places, but the one places that we didn't hit, it was South America. So I would love to hit like Chile and go on, Patagonia and all those places would be really cool to see.
That's awesome. What type of beverage are you drinking? Coffee, tea, water, soda, energy drinks? What are you drinking?
I make my own coffee. I'm a little bit of a coffee snob. Grind it up, weigh it, do all that stuff. Teas, but I always start off with tea. All different types of tea. My wife loves different teas, and yeah, drink lots of water. I'm in Vegas, so it's always dry. So I always gotta hydrate myself. So those are the things.
Very cool. If you had like one superpower, what would that one superpower be?
I think I would love to be able to teleport to
Nice.
anywhere in the entire universe, just so I could see what it looks like. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool.
That's pretty dope right there. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
I'm a night owl.
Nice. Okay. If you could have dinner with one historical figure, either living or deceased, who would it be?
Probably like Da Vinci or somebody.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. I like it. What's like your favorite way to decompress?
So I enjoy working out. I do jujitsu, Muay Thai with my son. So strangling people and punching them in the
I
face kind of helps get rid of some of that stress.
dig it. Do you have a favorite cheat meal?
Cookies.
There you
I
go.
love whenever my wife brings home cookies, I love cookies.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
Last one I got is, hey, what's on that workout playlist? What are you bumping?
Oh God. So I love it's a combination of between like 90s like heavy metal like Rage Against the Machine, that kind of Corn, all that kind of new metal stuff, to like I mean I like hardcore rap, even the NWA and all that stuff back then, and even I love trance music too, so I've got a wide range of genres there.
That's what's up, man. Hey, you crushed this rapid fire stuff, man. Thank you for sharing all of that stuff. That's awesome.
Definitely.
As we begin to wrap up here, one of the things that I ask is like, let's take it back old school, but like let's if you're a time traveler and you could time travel back to when you were like in your 20s, what's that one piece of advice you give yourself?
I would say I've always had an interest in entrepreneurship. I mean, even in college, I did my bachelor's, master's in engineering, robotics, and I did that for about 10 years. But I always love hearing the stories of entrepreneurs. I don't care if you came from if you're running a chef restaurant, to, a garbage, person, to, running your own business, to whatever the case is. I love just hearing stories about how people kind of, started their own stuff. And in my 20s, I just couldn't figure out like exactly what I wanted to do until kind of that like late 20s era. So first of all, I probably tell myself like, let's party a little bit less, because I did a lot of that growing up in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I think, I was so glad that I didn't get discouraged. But I mean, just telling myself to like really think about pursuing it, and knowing more about people and running your own business, that you are the business owner. You're the only one that cares about your business. No one else cares about your business but you. So you have to understand everybody else is an employee. So you have to understand that as a business owner, that you are your sole person that has to run everything all the time, be on top of things. Otherwise, shit will fall apart quickly. So just keep your eyes on every part of the business, and you'll do fine.
I really appreciate that insight, man.
Mhm.
Now, conversely, now that you have this experience, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Where I see myself in 5 years. So I think I would love obviously I love what I do, and I want to keep doing it for as long as possible, even if AI is going to replace everybody. Hopefully I could stay on top of this. I mean, a year and a half or so ago, I was getting overwhelmed with it. And so I was nervous. I'm like, am I getting too old for this? Am I getting, surpassed? But I think staying on top of it and finally get a hold of things, it's just something that I hope I stay in it for the next 5 years. I hope my business maintains. I hope I still continue to meet wonderful people, whether it's through podcasting, whether it's through new business. I hope I can continue to do this because I love doing this. This is what I got into, not what I studied in school, but something that I decided to like be and go down that journey, quit everything that I knew and start this from scratch, and been running it since then. And so I hope to continue it for a long time. And that's where I see it. So hopefully that happens.
Very cool, man.
Uh,
Hey, well, Makoto, it's been an awesome opportunity to have you on the Scaling Up Success podcast today. People are interested in your services. How can they get a hold of you?
Definitely. They can reach out to, visit our website at 3 Eyes Impact. mpact.io. You could see us on our podcast as well. It's called Make an Impact. We actually just hit 100,000 subscribers last week, got the little silver play button coming, so which is really cool. And yeah, you'll see on social media, LinkedIn, all that stuff, just reach out. And yeah, if you have any kind of ideas or like product type of applications you're developing and you're not quite sure, if you're worried if there's a lot of risk and you're trying to throw shit in there, whether it's AI or anything else, I mean, feel free to reach out. I love talking to people and just understanding like, hey, I think this is the best approach or way forward. And whether it's with us or somebody else, don't care. Again, I love solving problems that people what they face, and hopefully, make something of it in the future. But that's it.
Awesome, man. Very cool. Makoto, it's been an amazing experience having you on the podcast today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Once again, Ryan Van Ornum signing off for the Scaling Up Success podcast, powered by Synergist. Thank you so much. Until the next time, stay blessed, everyone. Take care.